Hello, Ray Phoenix here. Welcome to Let's Play Jumping Flash 2, Part 1. As I said before, Jumping Flash is one of the greatest things that mankind ever conceived. It's one of the greatest things that could ever be put onto a TV screen. And now we're going to play the sequel to it, Jumping Flash 2.0, the game that takes what the original was and updates it a little bit more, but staying overly true to what the original game was. This is a story to the game.
Hello! Hello! Ah, yeah. Are you the person whom is in charge of the Universal City Hall? Ah, good. This is the mad scientist Baron Aloha talking to you. Listen, Domkov, I have question for simple favor.
In the backwater reaches of the galaxy lies a tiny planet known as Little Moo that is used by Baron Aloha as his secret hideout. The Baron returned to his home away from home to rejuvenate from a recent beating he took at the hands of the feet of that heroic battle buddy known as Robert. He was in the process of inventing a better, stronger, more absurd way to overthrow the universe when Little Moo is visited by a stranger. In fact, there is nothing stranger in the universe than the creature known only as Captain Kabuki. Tipping the scales at a whopping 220 bazillion tons, he uses a kung fu grip larger than metropolitan Chicago to shred Little Moo and add it to his fantastic collection of bottled wonderlands. Using his keen sense of villain timing, Baron Aloha hastily departs the scene and lands upon a small asteroid. Unable to cope with the monstrosity that is Kabuki, he calls Universal City Hall and begs for help as his beloved hideaway is made into so much Swiss cheese. After listening to the Baron's plight, the interstellar dispenser of justice decides to send the only being capable of dealing with a menace such as Captain Kabuki, the freedom-loving, robo-heroic Robert. Tuned up and ready to go the distance, Robert leaps to the scene.
That's the story to this game. This game actually does have I guess you could say this game has a much better story than the first game. This first game was just simply about Baron Aloha taking over the world, but this one actually has more depth to it, where Baron Aloha's homeworld is now being threatened by some weird creature, some weird transvestite, something like that character, some alien thing that's ripped his homeworld of Planet Little Moo. This isn't Earth anymore, it's Planet Little Moo. This game is almost exactly the same as the first Jumping Flash in almost every single way possible. Sure, they updated some of the textures on things, made some things look a little bit nicer, but it plays exactly the same. This game uses the exact same game engine that the first game used. It looks and feels and plays exactly the same. It's almost indistinguishable from the first game, almost. Instead of collecting 4 jet pods, this time around we have to rescue these Moo-Moos, the citizens of Planet Little Moo. We saw them a little bit in the first game. I don't think there's a canonical spelling for them in the first game, but in this game it establishes that it's spelled like M-U-U-M-U-U. Moo-Moo, kind of like that thing Homer Simpson wore in that one episode where he got so fat he could stay home. Yeah, I have a film for you. A fridge too far. Almost every level in this game has some kind of reference to Baron Aloha, just like in the first game. There's a statue of him right there. It's on Little Moo, and apparently Baron Aloha is probably the dictator of this planet, or something like that. And there's bonus stages. The bonus stages in this game use the exact same music from the original Jumping Flash, and they look exactly the same as they did in the original Jumping Flash, more or less. There's still those barcode reader things, those QR code things you have to scan of your phone. On the side of the screen, they're advertising for Captain Kabuki, Baron Aloha versus Captain Kabuki. You do the exact same thing, and it gives you the exact same reward. You just win a 1-up. This game actually does take the whole, gameplay technique, or the technique of playing for the game, a little more, adds a little more depth to it. It's not just simply get through the game like it was in the first game. This game actually adds achievements and things, like medals and awards and things you can win for doing certain things in the game. There's one achievement you can win for playing through the entire game without using any weapons, or I'm not sure if that includes your magic arrows. It's hard to play for this game without using magic arrows. I'm still going to be using my magic arrows, but it is possible to play for this game without using any of the special items or anything like that. But to make matters worse, I don't have access to a controller right now, so I'm playing as one of the emulators in RetroArch using my keyboard, and it's not even a gaming computer. It's not even a gaming keyboard, it's a laptop's keyboard from an HP laptop. I still have that because I'm still traveling around. I haven't been able to get a real controller yet. So this game is really nice. The music in this game is really nice. A lot of the music in this game was used in Sonic Retros, and the game is supposed to be reminiscent of the classic Genesis Sonic games. They reused a lot of music in this game, because Jumping Flash actually does have quite a bit in common with Sonic. There's those Kiwi things in the first game. This game does reuse a lot of the same enemies and a lot of the same models and stuff from the first game. Those exit things are exactly the same as the first game. This game probably took not much time at all to make, probably just whipped through it really fast. And the premise of this game wasn't even original to the first game. This game, in terms of what you do, it's the same as what you did in the first game, but The first game wasn't exactly unique in that sense, because games where you have to rescue things have already existed before. Like the Jungle Book for the Sega Genesis came out in the year before the first Jumping Flash came out in 1994, and it was a lot like what the original Jumping Flash is, but it's a 2D side-scrolling platformer on the Genesis. Well, it's not exactly side-scrolling. You still travel around a level, but it's from a 2D platformer perspective. Well, Jumping Flash is more like a first-person shooter, kind of like Wolfenstein 3D and Doom. Even Wolfenstein 3D and Doom had a lot of moments where you had to find things, like find a key to unlock something, or find some way to open something, and then you come across a lot of enemies that need to be killed, and you can use them as breadcrumbs. A lot of these in this game just explode, and then they're never seen. Or, well, actually, enemies do come back in this game. It's kind of a drawback of some of this game sometimes. Enemies often do come back when you're not around. Sorry, I have 3 of the 4 Moo-Moos in this level already. I know this game so well. I played just like the original Jumping Flash. I played the crap out of this game. And unfortunately, this is the last Jumping Flash game to get a North American release or any kind of release outside of Japan. There are 2 more after this, but they only got released in Japan. I would like to do a Let's Play of Jumping Flash 3 eventually, but I don't know about the Evelyn Pocket Moo. It's just a stupid collection of a bunch of mini games. They're like those Tiger handheld games, but they're mini games. I can imagine the AVGN playing something like that and getting pissed over them. Oh, I've been watching the AVGN a lot recently, again, revisiting his old videos, his old classics. Those were some pretty funny videos. He was really great back. I'm sure his new stuff is okay, but he was, man, there was like so much. It was back in an era where people weren't really afraid to do things on YouTube. Nowadays, YouTube has become too PC. People are scared of saying something that might go against what YouTube is. I'm not scared at all, because I don't have any, because what do I have to lose? I'm not monetized at all. I never made a single dime off any of these videos that I make, but yeah, I still make them anyways, because I believe it's the greater good, as I may have probably said so many times before in some of the videos before. I sound like a broken record now. But then again, I even have a record player. I came across this one song by Red Hot Chili Peppers where it was their cover of the Beach Boys' As I Get Around, and apparently it only came out in vinyl. At least that's what I've read at the time, it only came out in vinyl. So how else am I gonna get it? I don't have a vinyl record player. Heck, I don't even have a CD player anymore. Heck, I don't even have a DVD player on me right now. I don't even have anything on me right now but my computer, phones, and internet. Yeah, I say phones. I recently got a Samsung Galaxy A04s phone. It's a pretty decent phone. It's a good companion to my Samsung Galaxy A53 phone, because my Samsung Galaxy A53 phone is actually kind of scary sometimes. It randomly plays files. It's like it got hacked, so it randomly plays files, it randomly does stuff, it talks for no reason at all. It does a lot of scary stuff. But this A04s phone hasn't done any of that stuff yet. It's only a matter of time before the hackers find it. Yeah, this is almost like a phone version of that movie Hackers. It's like Hackers, but it's with phones. I mean, phones really are like computers these days. Eventually they're going to become indistinguishable from PCs nowadays, to a point where they pretty much are a phone, pretty much is a PC. They're all one and the same. And this boss is actually kind of challenging to fight, because usually I'd be jumping on this guy a lot of the time, or getting close to him and aiming my magic arrows at him a lot. But I can't do that, because that's hard to do, because I'm using a keyboard right now, and it's hard to do that on a keyboard, so I had to kind of change my attack plan strategy. In this game, too, they also added cutscenes in between the worlds, kind of like how the European version of the first game had these cutscenes that are set at a cafe. Well, they kind of something similar to that.
Oh my! What a revolting development this has turned out to be.
Hey, Baron! Robert's here. We're saved.
Just because he's the hero don't mean you gotta root for him.
Jeez, what a grouch.
You can tell Baron Aloha is still very bitter towards Robert for defeating him in the first game. One thing that is kind of improved about this one, that musical cue that it plays when Robert's sent out of Universal City Hall or whatever that thing is. I actually think it's more fitting. It sounds more like he's like getting engaged, getting ready to go into a battle. Well, in the first game, it sounded more like just generic dancing. He's like do 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 do. This game sounds more like he's getting ready to go to a heroic battle or heroic fight. Heck, I'm only in the second world and I already have 8 lives. It's just like the first game. You can only have a maximum of 9 lives in total, because this game would just be way too easy if they could let you have more. Even 9 lives is a bit much for a game like this, because how freaking easy this game is. This game is pretty pathetically easy, so imagine that now we're the first world, we're in some sort of place that looked like Florida, now we're in some place that looks like China or Japan or somewhere like that, and it's the winter time too, or snow. I probably do have places equivalent of that on Planet Little Moon. Like, I already rescued all the Moo-Moos. Like, I'm just like going on autopilot right now. I'm collecting all these Moo-Moos, because I've played this game so many times that I know where everything is. That's true for these worlds. I'm actually not as familiar with the extra worlds in this one as much for some reason, because this game technically has 2 stories. You may have noticed that when I started the game, it had the subtitle of Big Trouble in Little Moo, and then there's another subtitle for this game for the second part of the game. It's like it's 2 stories in one, almost. Yeah, this game really is more elaborate, I think, than the first one. That's not what I think. It's true. It's the truth. This game is a lot more elaborate. Objectively, this game probably is a better game than the original Jumping Flash. It even added a mirror, what's it called, like a meter thing at the side of the screen that indicates your height and jumping, so it can help you choreograph your jumps so you can know where and when to jump, kind of thing. The first game didn't. I mean, jumping works exactly the same in this game as it did in the first one, but the first game didn't have a meter at the side telling you like what if you're at the maximum height of your jump or what level of jumping you're at or anything like that. So it's nice to add that. One thing I did add in this game that I thought was kind of unnecessary is that when you walk back diagonally kind of thing, it makes an unnecessary screech sound, which I don't get why they did. It doesn't make any sense at all. The first game didn't have that, and I liked it for that. This game, for some reason, added that in, and I think that was really unnecessary. There's all the items from the first game, the Roman candle, the rockets, the cherry bomb, all that crap. All that stuff is back in this game too, and it works exactly the same in this game as it did in the original. The only new item that's in this game that wasn't in the original are the power orbs, and power orbs are really useless in this game. They just drop a few orbs around, they just explode, they don't do much at all. It's kind of redundant. Don't be surprised it was something they thought of putting in the first game. They thought, let's leave that out, it's kind of stupid. And then the second game they thought, let's just throw that in there. Just to create an illusion we actually did more in this game than just plagiarize the first game that came out. That's the other problem I have with this game. I find this game is way too similar to the original. It's like, sure, this game is really good, but the original is actually a little bit more impressive, because like, the original came out more than a year earlier. The original did that first. So it deserves more credit because it did it first. It was the original. It was the one that pioneered what we're doing right now. So now we're in some sort of dojo thing with those enemies that multiply. Those enemies, I'm not sure, I can't remember if they were in the first game or not, those multiplying enemies, but they are present in this level. And that enemy thing did appear in Ape Escape too. Yeah, it's like it's so powerful. It should transfer itself between different franchises. So just like in the first game, Worlds 2-2 and 4-2 are like maze. They kind of ditch what levels normally are. Instead, they give us like a maze thing, which is what we're in right now. This game actually would be a lot easier if we could sidestep. Well, most of the time, sidestepping isn't really much of it. I mean, it's not a thing at all in these games. But the fact this game lacks sidestepping wasn't really an issue in the first game, because in the first game, it was, well, in the first Jumping Flash, the very original Jumping Flash, almost every level, the same with this one too, almost every level in the game, it doesn't really need sidestepping. It's only would really be a problem in levels like these, where it becomes more like Wolfenstein 3D when you're going through mazes. I know, but they probably thought it wasn't worth it to put sidestepping in this game. Even Jumping Flash 3 doesn't even have sidestepping in it, and Jumping Flash 3 has a lot more levels like this in that game. It's kind of tricky sometimes to figure out where exactly Moo Moos are, because there's different levels, there's different levels, and then there's like different like lines of latitude and longitude. Then you have to go through like a swirly, twirly water thing at one point, and it's like some sort of water reservoir, and you have to swim through it. Because Robert does do a lot more swimming in this game than he did in the first game. In the first game, there weren't even water physics in the first game. There was only one part in the entire first game where Robert jumped into water and he kind of swam. It was in the 4-2 level, but this game actually added water physics. So you actually see. I remember this used to mess up one of my emulators a lot of the time. One of my emulators couldn't process this, so this it will become impossible to see anything. So you have to be like Terry Garrett, where you have to play everything just by listening to sound and relying on your memory to tell you where everything is. But I have a much better emulator now. Even my Raspberry Pi can emulate this perfectly. Raspberry Pi loves Jumping Flash, which I'm glad for it, as that Jumping Flash is an awesome game franchise. It deserves to be well liked by the Raspberry Pi and everything. So it's got those power orbs I spoke of earlier, those highly redundant powers, but you're never going to see them in action because we're not using any weapons right now. I'm going to try to do this as much as I can, only using the magic arrows. Whatever those arrow things, I don't even know what they're called exactly. I forget where I heard that from actually, but yeah, just call them arrows or whatever it is. Kind of like a Mega Man has a standard Mega Buster, and then he has other odd weapons that he picks up. And unfortunately, Kirby doesn't seem to have a main weapon. When Kirby doesn't have any like enemies equipped or any of that, he's just, Kirby doesn't really have much attack. So it's like in Smash Bros. Where he punches things. even then, Kirby doesn't really do that much in the main Kirby games. So look at that, we just hit the jackpot, found a bunch of time extensions. We still have limited time in this game, but in this first set of worlds, we got way more time than what's needed. But in the extra modes, they actually reduced our time drastically, which actually does prove to be a challenge, actually. This game actually is, difficulty-wise, this game actually is a little bit more challenging than the first one. But it's still overall easy. I mean, this game is kind of easy to learn if you're good at learning games. I mean, this game is very awkward to people probably never played a game with this before. But then again, there aren't very many games like this at all. One of the only ever games that I know that's similar to Jumping Flash, or very similar to Jumping Flash, is not Jumping Flash, would be Geograph Seal, which is some obscure game that came out in some Japanese computer thing in 1994, and it was made by the same people that made this game. But yeah, apparently it made Geograph Seal. I still haven't played Geograph Seal yet. I'm not even sure it's possible to play Geograph Seal. I have to find some kind of way to emulate that system, but when that happens, you know, I'll be playing Geograph Seal. I'd like this Jumping Flash's primitive ancestor deserves coverage from me. I think we're going against a samurai thing. I don't even know what that is. It looks like some sort of like samurai warrior thing that's shooting fire. Just shooting blue fire. Ooh, it's blue fire. It's probably hotter than red fire. And you have these two flying henchmen things, these flying minion things. I don't even know what those are. Those two little minions that sit next to him. They let us jump on him and crush them and stuff like that. Just flying around. The music is actually pretty good. The same guy who did the music to the first game also did the music to this one too, and he did a really good job. This game does have a really good musical score too. I don't think it's as good as the first one, so I think the first game had a better soundtrack, but this one is still really good. It has like really quality. It almost sounds very orchestral. Like it has a very like orchestral quality to it, like a very orchestral, like a very lively, fluid. Yeah, very lively, fluid, like almost like something can be played by a real orchestra. I would think the music in this game was done by a real orchestra if I didn't know any better. Possibly the London Symphony Orchestra, maybe, or the Boston Philharmonic Orchestra, or something like that. So we're getting another cutscene.
Naughty, naughty, naughty little space bunny. Oh, I could give your tail such a nasty tweak.
Robert seems to be really getting to him, Baron.
Yeah, but just wait and see how he does with this challenge. He's not such a hot shot of a hero.
You want Robert to win, don't you?
Yeah, it's no secret. The Baron is still very bitter towards Robert. That's no secret at all. Even Ray Charles knows that Baron Aloha still hates Robert, and he's never played this game or know anything about this game at all. It's Ray Phoenix signing out.